Only had one shot left. I guess that's all we need. Just once, you would like one of these games to not just end in the most embarrassing, catastrophic fashion. It just would have rather it just, wilted and just lost normally. But nope. You just gotta, you have to watch it occur in the most tragic fashion. Dolphins season is over. They lose 20-12 to the Houston Texans today in a game where their quarterback, Tua, just did nothing short of shitting the bed today. Just a terrible performance by Uno. 3 interceptions. Probably could have had 5. A brutal day from him. Brutal. And you guys can miss me with his completions and, that one amazing pass to Jonnu Smith. But he had the chance to be a hero, just like he did last week. Gave him his flowers when he deserved it against the Jets. But when you need him on the road, team over 500, season on the line, back-to-back drives with interceptions. And this entire team, is looking for a little bit of a lift. Obviously, we're going into this game with some adversity. There's other people that you can put some of the blame pie on as far as, who the hell is playing. I don't even, Jackson, who the hell was that guy who was playing? Carmen Sandiego was out there playing right tackle today. I don't know who that guy was. That poor bastard. He got ragdolled and then just put in the spin cycle late. But the damage was done, my friend. It's a shame because I really thought that the defense played a pretty nails game. You gave up 20 points when your offense was that putrid and had that many mistakes. Your special teams falls for fake punts. And this is where they're at. Just mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. And none of it, none of it should be, overly surprising just based on how this season has been. And every time you need the Dolphins to just step up in weight class a little bit more, they always get chin checked, dude. They always get chin checked. And this one was such an abomination of mistakes. And, it's like, what can be said after this? Because if you can't be, the Texans are a nice team. They're a nice team, but they're not lighting the world on fire. And you basically, you gave them every mistake in the book and they beat you by a score. But it's always this. It's like always a time you need them to just step up a little bit to come up and really just surprise you. Can they do it? No. It takes an entire half for the offense to get their ass in gear. It takes cataclysmic mistakes to get to where they're at. You have this line made of Mad Libs. I don't know who the hell these people are. We still got Eichenberg starting for this team. Tua can't hold on to the damn football. Results in a touchdown. Brutal. Then, of course, just to add injury to insult, Jalen Waddle gets hurt. So now you're out here with Grant DeBose, who then Tua basically sends to the hospital, which, that was crazy. Inevitably, the Dolphins actually kind of played a little bit better after this happened. It was crazy, because the drive beforehand was really the killer because this motherfucker, Danny Crossman, I don't know what kind of photos he got, or I don't know if he one time saved McDaniel from choking on a hot dog or something that Mike McDaniel continues to employ this man. But of course, was there going to be a special teams blunder when the Dolphins were getting ready to get the football back or getting ready to stall out a drive? And did they fall for a fake punt? Of course they did. Credit to Patrick McMorris. He almost was able to get the football back, but the damage was done. And C.J. Stroud would then take, after another Dolphins blunder, would turn that into a touchdown. And just mistake after mistake did either two things for the Dolphins. It either killed drives that were going their way, or it put the Houston Texans in perfect position to score. And that's what bad teams do. They're a bad football team. They're bad. They are front-running bad bullies. That's what they are. They can be bad teams at home in ideal conditions, but adversity is an opportunity. Yeah, okay. That adversity is a new opportunity for them to embarrass themselves. Because if you put this Dolphins team in any type of adverse situation, they wilt. Or they find a new way to screw up. And the shame of it is the defense, for the most part, outside of Jordan Poyer continuing to be a double agent and yelling at his teammates in the middle of a play like a jackass, they just continue to find new ways to embarrass themselves. And whether it's in the freezing ass cold on Thanksgiving or now in perfect conditions in a dome in Houston, if you need them to venture out of their comfort zone and step up a little, they can't do it. And the quarterback, who, yes, was on a heater, he was playing tremendous, even though I thought the Green Bay game, like I told you then, and I say this as a guy, if you guys follow my work, I get called more of a Tua homer than many people in this market. I am a fan of the guy. I want his success. I want him to be the franchise. I want him to have his absolute shut the up moment. But it's tough not to come out of all these must-have games, and he always just leaves you he either does two things. He leaves the people who have always been, he leaves the skeptics fulfilled because they just leave us to be like, see, I told you. Or the people who are out here hoping that he can carry them through. And Tua's been great. You know, he's been good since the concussion. But this was unbelievably underwhelming. The dude was not sharp for like the first 4 drives of the game. Took him, and I don't know what that is, you know, because it's tough to know who's on the same page. And yeah, he's down to, you know, Jonnu Smith and Tyreek Hill basically. But you can't turn the football over. Like, he had a 6-point swing at the end of the half, you know, and then Mike McDaniel on top of that, you know, kind of felt like he blamed Tyreek Hill. I guess it sounded like that's the route that he was going. I'm not listening to his post game now. I don't have it in me. But, okay. Blame that one on him. And then, you know, you could look at the last one and be like, well, Tyreek Hill had it in his hands. It's like, yeah, but also like, you have Tyreek Hill finally one-on-one down the sidelines. You couldn't find a way. We couldn't find a way to get that one willy-nilly down the path. Like, it's crazy. The one that was, you know, the Dolphins are marching. They're down 20-10 with it early in the fourth quarter. Should have been setting up at least a field goal that could have set up the game winner. That one gets picked off. I mean, bro, what are we talking about? Derek Stingley. Same amount of catches today as Tyreek Hill, Derek Stingley. Tyreek Hill and Tua, how's this for not being on the same page with each other? 7 targets, 2 catches. 2 catches, 36 yards for Tyreek Hill. Extended. Leaders of your team, faces of your team. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle got hurt. Tua Tagovailoa. Once again, nowhere to be found when you need him. And I mean, you kind of, the thing that's disappointing about this one, you know, I was doing the pregame show today, and what I found disappointing about it was that you're like, I woke up today with a weird sense of confidence, which I should have already known was stupid on my part. And then you get the news that they're starting Carmen Sandiego at right tackle. And you're like, all right, that's not great because now you have 2 backup tackles in there against one of the most potent pass rushing units in the league. And, 3 sacks, it was okay. I mean, the 2 of them were disasters because, one basically killed one drive and sent Tua almost to the end zone, and the other one, it resulted in a fumble. So they were disastrous plays, but, it felt like there were a lot of times Tua had time. There were. And just a terrible, terrible performance by the Dolphins. Got off to a start in this game. Texans got out to a 3-0 lead, and then, Dolphins get the ball back. Tua got a little bit of, just couldn't get on the same page with Tyreek Hill. He tries twice, gets incomplete, just doesn't look very sharp. Then Zach Sealer the next time around. Zach Sealer, huge sack. I mean, his season this year has been tremendous. He gets 2 more on the day. He got, him and Chop Robinson were both just absolutely dynamite today. And, the Dolphins are able to go the next drive around, and they're able to tie things up. Tua, this was a crazy play because Tua did have a drive on 3rd down where he tried to dive for the first down and ends up getting called back on a holding. But some people were wondering, and this is the thing with him, you can't ever just wonder, did he suck? You're like, oh, was he concussed? You don't know. But he did take an absolute lick on that play from 97 on Houston. But Sanders, he hits the field goal, evens things up. Defense holds tight. And then the next drive around when the Dolphins get the football back, that is when Tua just gets absolutely killed on his blind side. Eichenberg gives up a ton of pressure. Carmen, just lets Will Anderson wreak havoc. And then Texans are right there in position to score a touchdown. They do. Jordan Poyer's yelling at his teammates in the middle of a play. Very accountable. Things continue to go swimmingly for the Dolphins. They lose Jalen Waddle the next time around. And this was one where Tua nearly got picked off in the red zone. And then Achane then fumbles out of a play where Tua nearly throws it behind him. He has to gather it, fumbles it. Brewer comes in and he recovers the football. So back-to-back plays nearly turned over. Jason Sanders hits another field goal, so the Dolphins are within 4. All right, not a disaster. The Dolphins then get this was the killer drive. The killer drive was next play. Dolphins are able to get a turnover. C.J. Stroud blows a snap right off of his chest. Jordan Brooks gets it. Next drive, you have Eichenberg, who has a hold and takes the Dolphins out of field goal range. Then there's a defensive holding, puts the Dolphins back. Then the Dolphins are out of timeouts, and Tua throws a just horrible interception over the middle. Great play by Kalen Bullock, who just snatches it like a damn puma. And it was like his first interception. I don't know how many, a lot of passes, let's just say. But you would have at least had 3. At least would have gotten the game to within you would have at least been able to get the game within range within a point. And instead, Houston comes back. They're able to get a field goal, and they go up 13-6 going into the half. So you're like, geez, all right. So instead of being within 1, you're down a touchdown. Houston's getting the ball back. That's when you have the fake punt coming out of halftime. I mean, what can you say? Old faithful Danny Crossman, only Danny double crossing the Dolphins all over the place. Nico Collins once again for a touchdown, so they're up 14. Then you have the scariest moment of the game because the Dolphins down 14. Next drive, you have Tua throwing a ball to Grant DeBose, who's led right into Caleb Bullock, who launches himself like it just crunches the dude like a missile. And he is down. And I really didn't know, to be fair, I didn't know how the Dolphins were going to respond to this because I thought, Tua looked shook. Mike McDaniel looked broken. It was like 12 minutes. They had to give him oxygen through his nose. The Dolphins are all praying on the field. They had to unscrew his mask. They had to cut off his jersey. They had to pin him to a board. It was a scary scene, man. It was a scary scene. And you didn't know how the Dolphins were going to respond to that. And they responded pretty well, to be honest with you. They came back. They had a huge, Tua's easily his best play of the game, and a great play by Jonnu Smith. But the Dolphins were short of the first down. So they're about to go for the field goal, and then there's offsides. And then it's 4-2. The Dolphins go for it, and Tua is able to find Jonnu Smith. And then Jason Sanders, who, you can never count him out for a fat cat sneaky play. He misses the extra point. Some were saying the snap was low. I don't even know. The Dolphins play like duck snapper every single week. I don't know who the long snapper is. I thought Blake Ferguson was back last week. Now they have another new snapper. I don't know what's going on with the dude that was supposed to be their long snapper. Makes no sense to me that the Dolphins have done this roster dance with their long snapper all year. It's completely weird to me. I'm not saying that's the reason that Sanders missed it, but couldn't have helped. But either way, the Dolphins then were down 8. But Chop Robinson, the next drive, comes through. Monster sack for him. He continues to have this great second half of the season. It's a shame it doesn't seem like it's going to be used in the facet of getting into the playoffs. Then the Dolphins march down. We talked about this. Tua threw his second interception of the day right to Derek Stingley. Tyreek Hill is out of bounds. Mike McDaniel looks bewildered because that's the wilder that he always looks. And this awesome drive the Dolphins have, Tua was starting to catch a little bit of fire. He had a big-time 4th and 4 to Jonnu Smith. He had a big-time third down throw to Tyreek Hill. Looked like he was starting to cook. And I think all three were all three interceptions to Tyreek Hill, or Tyreek was in the vicinity. It did feel like in some way, like him and Tyreek Hill, again, I never know who to blame on this stuff, but I will say it felt very much like Tyreek Hill and Tua just were not on the same page today. I mean, you look at the target numbers, you look at the catch numbers, that's just not typical of that duo. So I don't know who to blame there. I'm going to put it on Tua because I don't want to seem like I'm making excuses, but Tyreek Hill is also one of the stars of the team. And I would say that he had kind of a horse game too. And that's not acceptable. For all the chirping that he does and all the talking that he does on social media and all the trolling that he does on social media. And I don't want to hear, let me tell you something right now, dude. I don't want to hear a peep from one, within reason. Don't be complete carnival barker ass to people on Twitter. But I don't want to hear a peep from one Miami Dolphins player about, oh, you guys aren't loyal. You guys aren't sticking with us. F that, dude. You guys came out there. You pooped the bed, especially the offense, especially the special teams. Defense, for whatever reason, now they show up. Nobody else can. But I don't want to hear any of that bull bleep. Oh, you guys aren't sticking with us. Oh, boo-hoo. Yeah, you know what? 25 years, dude. 25 years. The owner's like, I think we're a Super Bowl contender. Or they might not finish over 500. We'll see. 6-8 on the season. 6-8. Probably just clinched the division for the Houston Texans. Unreal. That's water, not tequila. You'll have to trust me. Yeah, it was. The thing that's disappointing about it is with the interceptions. One, you were in that position, and the defense came through for you. They came through with big plays. Other than you putting it on the friggin' doorstep for them, defense came up huge today, man. What was the total yards? Look at this. 181 total yards for the Texans today, dude. 181, and you lose that game. That's wild. You won TOP. Pretty even on penalties. But turnovers, man. 4-1. 4-1. Can't win games like that. Not a serious team. which they're not. They're not a serious team. They're not a serious team. We've known this the entire time. I want to hope. I want to be optimistic. I want to have a good time. But that Dolphins December train is never late, dude. That Dolphins December train is never late. And in fact, it just got started a little bit earlier this year. But you need one. You need one big. You need it on the road. Do the Dolphins got you? No. Does Tua got you? No. Does McDaniel got you? No. Does Tyreek Hill got you? No. Zach Sealer's got you. But he can only do so much. Chop Robinson had you. Everybody else, they could walk home from Texas for all I care.